Most people make one big mistake when they start looking at Carlsbad. They search homes for sale in Carlsbad and see a few beautiful listings and assume the whole city gives you the same lifestyle. But Carlsbad is not a one-size-fits-all area. Where you live in Carlsbad can completely change your day-to-day life. One area may feel more walkable and coastal, and another might feel more residential and tucked away. Another might give you easier access to shopping, trails, or commuting routes, and another might give you more of that planned community feel. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through some of the main areas people look at when they're thinking about moving to Carlsbad. Not just to tell you which one is best, because that depends on you, but to help you understand which area may fit your lifestyle, your budget, your commute, and the type of home you're looking for. And stay until the end, because I'll also give you a simple way to narrow down your search before you start touring homes. Hey everyone, I'm Sherry Harrington, a real estate agent here in North County, San Diego, and I help buyers and relocations clients understand Carlsbad and the surrounding communities before they make a move. Let's start with the area a lot of people picture first, Carlsbad Village, and the coastal side of Carlsbad. This is a part of Carlsbad that many people experience when they visit. You have restaurants, coffee shops, local businesses, beach access nearby, and more of that walkable coastal feel. In your dream version of Carlsbad, you can imagine walking to dinner, grabbing a coffee, being near the beach, and having more activity around you. This is usually one of the first areas people want to understand, but there are trade-offs. Being closer to the coast can mean higher prices, smaller lots, and in some cases, older homes or condos, depending on the property, and more visitor activity, and way more competition for the lifestyle. It can be amazing if that's what you want, but it's not always the quietest and the most spacious version of Carlsbad. So if you're looking near the village or the coast, you need to be honest about what matters more: walkability and the beach access, or space and a quieter residential feel. Next is what many people refer to as Olde Carlsbad. This is a more established residential area around the village in central Carlsbad. This can be a great area to understand if you like the idea of being near the coast in the village, but you don't necessarily need to be right in the middle of the busiest spots. In this part of Carlsbad, you may find a mix of older homes, remodeled properties, different lot sizes, and neighborhoods that feel more established. Some buyers like this because it can feel less cookie cutter than the newer communities. But again, you need to look closely at each property. Two homes in the same general area can feel completely different depending on the street, condition, updates, layout, parking, and how close they are to busy roads or commercial areas. This is one of those areas where driving around the neighborhood matters. Online photos will not always tell the full story. Another area buyers often ask about is Aviara. Aviara is in the southern part of Carlsbad near the Bataquitas Lagoon, and it has way more polished residential resort style feel in many of its pockets. Buyers often look here because they want a quieter setting, attractive surroundings, and access to outdoor space while still being connected to coastal North County. The homes in Aviara can vary, but you will often see planned neighborhoods, condos, townhomes, and larger single-family homes depending on the specific community. The trade-off is that Aviara is not usually the same kind of walk to the village lifestyle, and it can feel more residential, and many daily errands can still be very car-based. So if this is your priority, being able to walk to restaurants and the beach every day, you may compare Aviara differently than someone who wants a more peaceful residential setting. Then you have La Costa. La Costa is one of those names people hear a lot, but it's so important to understand that La Costa covers a large area with many different pockets. Some parts feel more connected to the resort and the golf course and the history of the area. Other parts feel more like hillside residential neighborhoods. You can find condos, townhomes, and larger homes depending on where you're looking. La Costa can make sense for buyers who want to be in South Carlsbad, want access to nearby Encinitas or San Marcos, or like the idea of being close to shopping, restaurants, and major roads without necessarily being right on the coast. The thing to watch in La Costa is that the feel can change quickly from one pocket to another. Some areas might feel more tucked away, others might feel more convenient. Some streets have more hills, views, or winding roads. So this is not an area where you want to judge everything from one listing. You really want to compare the specific neighborhood and the commute and the type of home. The next area is called Bressi Ranch. Bressi Ranch has more of a newer planned community feel compared to some of the older coastal areas. A lot of the buyers like it because it can feel convenient and organized. You have neighborhood parks, nearby shopping shopping, restaurants, and a layout that can feel very practical for day-to-day life. This is the kind of area when someone may say, I want Carlsbad, but I don't need to be right next to the beach. I want convenience, a newer feel, and a community that's easy to live in. The trade-off is that you're further from the coast, further from the village and the beach areas. So if your main reason for moving to Carlsbad is to feel like you're living at the beach every day, Bressi Ranch may not feel right for you. But if your priority is convenience, layout, and everyday location, it's definitely an area worth comparing. Another area to understand is Calavera Hills and the north side of Carlsbad. This area can appeal to buyers who want a more inland residential feel, access to the parks, trails, and potentially more value compared to some of the beach parts of the city, depending on the home and market conditions. It may also make sense for people who are looking at commute routes towards Oceanside, Vista, San Marcos, or other parts of North County. But the same rule applies. Do not just look at the Carlsbad home. Look at your daily routine. If you live further inland, you may get a different price point or different home options, but you'll also be further from the beach and the village lifestyle if that's what you desire. That may be a great trade-off for some buyers and not the right fit for others. Then there's Rancho Carrillo. Rancho Carrillo has more of a master planned residential feel with winding streets, community amenities in some areas, and access to open space and trails nearby. It can feel tucked away compared to some of the busier coastal areas, but still connected to Carlsbad and nearby cities. This area can make sense for buyers who want more of a neighborhood-focused feel and are comfortable being further inland. The most important thing to understand is that Rancho Carrillo is not trying to be Carlsbad Village. It's a completely different lifestyle. If you want walkability to restaurants and to the beach, this may not be the first place you look. But if you want a more residential setting and don't mind driving for many day-to-day errands, it may be worth exploring. Another area buyers may hear about is Poinsettia and southwest part of Carlsbad. This area can be interesting because it gives you a location closer to the coast in South Carlsbad with access to nearby beaches, shopping, and routes towards Encinitas and other coastal communities. Depending on the specific property, you might see condos, townhomes, or single-family homes, and the lifestyle can feel different from the village area even though both are on the coastal side of the city. The trade-off here is that prices, HOA fees, parking, and property type can vary a lot. You really need to compare the full monthly costs and the specific community rules before deciding. Now here's the part I really want you to take away from this video. The best area in Carlsbad is not the same for everyone. If you want walkability, restaurants, beach access, you may start with a village and coastal areas. If you want an established residential feel near central Carlsbad, you may look around Old Carlsbad. If you want polished residential feel near open space in South Carlsbad, Aviara may be worth comparing. If you want larger South Carlsbad area with different housing options, look into La Costa. If you want convenience and more of a planned community feel, Bressi Ranch might make sense. If you want inland Carlsbad with access to parks, trails, and different price points, Calavera Hills or Northeast Carlsbad may be worth exploring. And if you want a more tucked away, master planned feel, Rancho Carrillo might be a good area to explore. Before you choose an area, ask yourself 4 questions. First, how close do I really want to be to the beach? Second, do I want walkability or am I okay driving most places? Third, where will I be commuting or spending most of my time? And fourth, do I care more about location, home size, newer finishes, outdoor space, or monthly cost? Once you answer all of these questions, your Carlsbad search gets a lot clearer because the goal is not just to buy a home in Carlsbad. The goal is to choose a part of Carlsbad that actually matches the way you want to live. If you're thinking about moving to Carlsbad or anywhere in North County, San Diego, feel free to reach out. I would be happy to help you compare the different areas, understand the trade-offs, and figure out what makes the most sense for your lifestyle, your budget, and your long-term plans. I'm Sherry Harrington, and I'll see you in the next video.